Have you ever noticed that everybody just argues all the time? Everybody wants to be right, everyone has really strong opinions. People's minds don't really get changed. They can, but it's rare. I'm guilty of this too. I have been arguing a lot recently, and there's a verse in the Bible which says, "The servant of the Lord must not be quarrelsome, but must be kind to everyone, able to teach, not resentful. Opponents must be gently instructed in the hope that God will grant them repentance, leading them to a knowledge of the truth, and that they'll come to their senses and escape the trap of the devil who has taken them captive to do his will." The thing is, we should be gently instructing people. We should be trying to just speak the truth. I notice Christianity, but also other areas, if you are just trying to convince someone, refute every single point they make, even if you do it properly, it doesn't usually work, because you just have one guy fighting here and one guy fighting here, giving point A, point B, point C, point D, point E, and it's just like, what's actually going on? Yeah, it's actually just two ideologies fighting each other. Left wing, right wing, whatever it may be. And usually people think they're having one conversation, but they're actually not. They're having different conversation in their head, you know. If you really zoom into the points they're making, they're just talking at each other, and what they disagree on isn't even what they're talking about. It comes to the point where we're just making assumptions about the other person, and I have my presumptions about them. You miss what they're saying. It's just hazy. This isn't the same angle at all, but my phone fell over. There's another Bible verse which is, "Warn them before God against quarreling about words. It is of no value and only ruins those who listen." Really true. Another one, "Do all things without grumbling or disputing, that you may be blameless and innocent, children of God without blemish in the midst of a crooked and twisted generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world." You know, I could talk about Christianity a lot. You know, I think the most important thing is that you have a cornerstone which is based on truth and love and faith and love for God, love for your creator, and love for others, and forgiveness and mercy and peace. And that's, you know, I believe that's true, and I believe Jesus in the Bible completely reflects that. And I would just say, try for yourself, pray to God. If he's real, that's all good, you know what I'm saying, and he is. When you argue, you can often think you're talking in logic, but you surrender truth and you surrender what you're actually speaking about in order to be right, and it can happen really, really, really subtly. I'm sure like most people can admit they've done that. I think just prioritizing the truth above being right is good, because look, if you're wrong and the other person like feels that like it's not gonna matter, you know. I think there's a fear that when people like lose a point in the argument, that their whole ideology is gonna fail, and I understand that. I think as Christians we have to defend our faith properly, but you know, I've experienced it. Your truth doesn't resonate with people if you're just arguing. Your truth resonates with people when you're a good example, when you you know, when you love them, when you forgive them, when you just speak the truth clearly and just say the spirit of what you want to say. You don't have to be heavy. And as soon as it gets pride involved and you're trying to win the argument and it gets hostile, ain't nobody listening to that, bro. You can make the best point and it doesn't matter. There's a YouTuber I watch who's really good, Young Don. He's a guy I think that tries to seek truth, you know, but he was saying like some guy in his live stream came and just all caps like said to him like, "You're wrong about this," and explained why. And obviously he heard that and he didn't believe it. He just kind of brushed it off. He was like, "Nah," and he started arguing. Not long after, he realized he was wrong just separately, and he made a comment in the live stream that, damn, like, just because of the way this guy spoke to me, I was much less willing to see the truth. And it's worth considering, because we're humans, we're creatures of God, you know. We need to love each other. It doesn't matter, these arguments. It really does just ruin us. And you know, I think if you are having these debates and arguments, you know, you should try and think about, well, what am I actually saying? What is the point of this? What am I trying to gain, you know, for them, you know, and for me? Am I just trying to be right, serve my argument or my ideology, or am I trying to seek the truth? Jordan Peterson has an excellent quote, which is something along the lines of, always assume the person you're listening to knows something you don't. And even people who are very wrong about stuff you can learn from, and most people aren't wrong about everything or right about everything, including you and including me. So you got to think, is my ideology superior to the truth? And you know, it's not. I obviously believe God is above all things, but you know, I believe that God is completely truthful. You know, we believe Jesus is the truth, and I guess God is the truth. So if I'm lying at any point to prove my point, I'm even if I feel like I'm serving God through that, I'm actually doing a disservice to God. So we should always seek the truth. We should always do that. And just also, yeah, man, I mean, it's a simple point, but just love the person you're speaking to. That's another human being. No matter how wrong you think they are, no matter how stupid or deluded or terrible you think their ideology is, you got to remember, most likely there's a reason they think that, and you know, you gotta love them and have mercy on them. And it's better for someone to have the truth and have love and be loving than just, you know, be shamed and defeated in their argument. It really is. And I'm saying all these things, you know, I fall short on this, like, constantly. I argue too, but I've been thinking a lot about arguing recently, and I really think just, if you really choose to just take a breath, step back. You don't need to say everything, you don't need to be this logical mastermind. You can just step back and you can just listen. The Bible also says, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. This is very wise. I would recommend reading the Bible. There's actually a website called Open Bible where you can just search for any topic, and you got to click the verses and click read full chapter so you don't read it out of context. But it's really good because you can kind of just see any topic you're speaking on. You can just see what the Bible has to say about it, and reading Jesus's Gospels, you know, it's excellent. Like, the reason I say that is because a lot of people speak on Christianity and the Bible and God, and they don't really know about it. And I'm not trying to I just think it's important to see for yourself. There's such a strong reason I believe in this, and these mental arguments, you know, the other thing about arguments is we just get argumentative in our heads, and it just brings us nowhere. It takes us away from, this is actually an important point to what I'm saying now, and also arguing, which is you've just got to actually consider and be critical and, you know, do service to what you're disagreeing with, you know. Be careful that you're actually speaking the truth and considering the truth, and that based on a foundation of love and goodness and truth, because if it's not, you have to question, is that truth? Is that right? Look, man, you have to consider the other side, and open-mindedness leads to truth, peace and unity. And I will add that society and the structure of what's fed into us, social media, AI algorithms, they're constantly trying to make us argue and be divided and hate each other and stuff like that. And you gotta wonder, like, why is that the case? They want us to fight. It's better for us to be arguing with each other than to actually have this peaceful truth and love for each other, which, you know, we should have. You can learn a lot from just listening, and when you just listen, what you'll probably find is you have opportunities to really say something that will actually resonate with them and actually be truthful, and you don't have to win the argument. If you're trying to win arguments, even if you win, it won't make a difference, like, you know, and you got to consider, when has someone done that to you as well? When has someone destroyed you in an argument and you've changed your mind? Seek the truth and, you know, listen to people. You don't have to just agree with everyone, but if you just listen, it's not like you're going to be possessed by something, you know. You can just have peace and clarity and just trust that you can just let thoughts pass through your head and truth will come to you. But come to God, come to Jesus. You may think that's just an ideology, but you have to, in my opinion, base what you're seeking on love and truth and forgiveness and mercy and whatever it may be. But yeah, man, I don't know, like, be critical about what you believe. God bless.